We're back.
We are back. How are you? It's in the last 3 days.
I don't know. We're in COVID time. We might as well be, massing forces to invade Canada during the War of 1812. I don't know what's happening.
Well, they seem COVID free, so why wouldn't we? Let's go take their land.
Yeah, go take their land. Well, yeah, COVID. I forget. That's going on during this. Whatever. All the countries are locking down, and we're opening up, and whatever.
I feel like it's the COVID greatest hits album version of like the COVID career, right? Like you've got Italy and Spain are like, and in England are like, oh fuck, it's back one more time. We're like, guys, we already have all the CDs. Like we're good.
Yeah. I don't need
still
more.
Playing them.
We don't need anything. Anyway,
so
let's see what you've got something you want to talk about this league and all the weirdness of the
I want to talk about the league and all the weirdness of it. That thing we cover every week. Yeah, I think that we did a disservice to our listeners on Monday.
Yeah.
Because we talked a lot about how crazy the league is and all the wild start and all that stuff. And it's not untrue.
Right.
And I think we got swept up, as everyone in Europe does, with the narrative.
Yeah.
And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think with this amount of data that we have, 6 games, 5 for some, and we'll talk about that in a sec, like you need context for the narrative. I think one of the best things, and probably, by the way, the best thing about the English Premier League is the narratives, is the storylines. It literally feels like you're watching a soap opera unfold every Saturday and Sunday morning.
The other thing that I like about it, especially in the context of, like, I feel like it's always good to put things in the context of U.S. sports. Like right now, the sport that everyone watches is the NFL, but they don't talk about it any other time, right? Like you watch it, the narrative is the games, but there's no off season. There's no crazy thing. Baseball used to be the off season because guys would move around. Now basketball is like nobody watches the games, but everyone's a GM.
Right.
Like the narrative of basketball, of who's going where and what's happening, is the coolest thing. In the Premier League, it's only the games because there's literally nothing else, right? Nobody speaks. There's no
you've
stories.
Got one big delineation, right? You're absolutely right. It is the NFL, but in that respect. But how many months did the NFL play? Of a 12-month calendar, how many months did the NFL play? 4?
Yeah.
How many months did the Premier League play? 10.
Yeah, a lot.
Fucking 10, right?
Plus,
it's not only is it the only thing, it's the only thing the entire year. In fact, the entire country of England all goes on holiday, vacation at the same time.
Yeah.
End of June and July. You know why?
Well, not just England.
Premier League.
No, that's not why. But
I know.
All of Europe goes on vacations at the same time.
Right. Believe me, I live in Florida. I see them all at Disney World. Well, I used to. So we talked a little bit about it last week, and we're like, Everton's on top. Villa's in third. What the fuck is going on here?
Right.
Well, yeah, to an extent, yes. But again, we need context. We need to understand what really is happening here. City's in 13th. Holy shit. Yeah.
It's a game and a half. It's nothing.
It's a game. Put it in baseball terms. It's a game and a half. Exactly.
Yeah, it's a game and a half.
And the other thing is,
and they haven't played head to head yet. So
no, of course they haven't. But that's kind of leading into my point, right? Like you look at who City has played, and I said this early on in our episodes, and I was like, hey, City's got kind of a tough gauntlet early on here, and you were like, classic City fan. You're like, nah, it'll be fine.
Listen,
Wolves,
the only reason I put it into that
we can
context,
handle Leicester, no problem.
The only reason I put it into that context is because of the season before. The season before, we scored goals like crazy, and had like the best goal differential in the league, and the XG differential in the league, and just had bad luck. Like a team would get 2 shots and score 2 goals. So I thought that would translate again. And then the 2 seasons before that, City lost 7 games combined.
No, I know. And I didn't disagree with you, and I still don't, for what it's worth, right?
Yeah.
City, over the last 4, maybe even 5 years, has been comfortably the best team in the Premier League on balance. But so you look at that and you go, we're 6 games in. Why has that changed? Here's the news. It hasn't, right? You look at what City's done.
Let me tell you about my team, dude.
Go.
David Silva is a big deal. Like,
No, I'm not saying that you haven't gotten
Real
worse.
Sociedad has David Silva, and they're in first place in La Liga. It's not a coincidence. That
That's
dude
fair. That's
is
fair.
bad fucking ass.
He is.
Like,
But when you look at, you had to run a gauntlet a little bit. And again, I'm going to bring this up. You have a game in hand. So that 1.5, you haven't played 6 games. Everybody else, aside from Man United, as it were, has played 5. I'm sorry, they've all played 6. You've played 5. So you've had to play Wolves, Leicester, Leeds, and Arsenal. Now, 3 top 6 contenders.
Yeah.
And Leeds, who are just on, like they do an.
They're on drugs.
Yeah, every fucking game. And you were one of the first people out of the chute to deal with them.
Yeah, and we drew. That was a good draw. Shit.
And that was a good draw for both sides.
Yeah.
And so you look at, Everton. They've played West Brom. They've played Palace. They've played Brighton. Yes, they've played Liverpool. They lost to Southampton. And that's kind of the story that you'll see unfold.
You left out you.
No, I know. They beat us in opening day. But I wasn't even going to give them the credit of beating us as a good team. And we'll talk about that.
Yeah, because they were bad. Yeah.
But the larger point is, you win the games. How do you finish in the top 4, 5, 6 in England? You win the games you're supposed to win, right?
Yes.
You beat the West Broms. You beat the Crystal Palaces. You beat the Brightons.
Essentially, Arsenal did that and finished in the top 4
exactly
for probably 7 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
They never beat anybody good, and they beat the piss out of every team in the bottom half.
And so the story becomes, well, who hasn't played the shit yet? City hasn't played shit yet. I mean, so you
our first taste of shit is this weekend. Although I would have thought, I can't tell you. I think City's last 4 trips to London against West Brom, they scored 4 goals every game. So I never thought that would be a result ever.
I know.
That was no, that can't happen, and then it did.
And by the same token, Arsenal is actually above you, again, because of games in hand, by 1 point. 1 point.
They're not good.
They're not good, but again, look at their schedule.
Yeah.
They've had to play Liverpool, Manchester City, and Leicester City. They've lost all 3 games.
Yeah.
Who have they beaten?
They beat West Ham.
Fulham. Fulham's going to go down by Christmas, right? They're gone.
Yeah, they're done. They're already gone.
They beat the piss out of Fulham, which is what you do.
Yeah.
They beat West Ham on a late winner, and they beat Sheffield United, who didn't even know what the other team's net was at that point in the season. So they're winning the games. Like you said, they're winning the games they're supposed to win.
Yeah.
City has not had the opportunity to do that. So if we're talking about how a topsy-turvy table where Everton's in first and Aston Villa's in third, that's a fun early season storyline. But if you really dig in, you're like, all right, everybody fucking put the drugs down. Relax.
You really can't really know. You kind of get a sense. That's why the Christmas time period is always when you're like, how teams come out of that is usually how they'll finish. But,
and for the context there, right? So for people who don't understand, how many games would you say from the 20th of December through the 5th of January? Now, normally that's what, a 3-week period? You would play
teams. Well, the way their season is this season, they're just playing. They're playing like it's that.
Yeah, that's fair. But pretend it's a normal year.
They basically play 3 games in 5 days.
Yeah. And while the European teams do that
all of Europe does not play.
Right.
For some reason.
So it's a very English thing. But Boxing Day is the thing, and New Year's Day is the thing. And for some reason, they still shoehorn a game in between them for some fucking idea.
I have no idea where it comes from, but they.
So what happens? What ends up happening is whoever, like you said, whoever's left standing on January 5th, 6th, right? After all that stretch there's
a down period for most clubs because there's FA Cup weekends and League Cup weekends, and teams start to not be in those tournaments.
Right.
So you start seeing teams separate or consolidate if they're good.
Right.
But it's still a super. The Premier League season is no joke.
The month of January, if you think about it, the Premier League season peaks around the first of the year. And then, like you said, you've got a January FIFA break, so an international break. But right after that, or right before it, I can't remember, you have an FA Cup game. You have a League Cup semifinal,
and a final. If you're in it, though, most teams aren't.
But realistically, who are we talking about here?
Yeah. Well, exactly.
So we're only talking about the best teams who are in that competition to begin with.
Liverpool conveniently drops out of the FA Cup and the League Cup every year.
Yeah, well,
I'm just saying. City won those. They won a treble. It's forgotten. already.
That's correct. But that's kind of where I'm looking at this, right? And like, there's a lot of context that we have, but there's a shit ton more that we don't yet, right? So it's 6 weeks in. It is October 29th as we record this, and you'll hear it on October 30th. Imagine me talking to our listeners. 6 weeks from now, mid-December.
Yeah.
What is the table going to look like? In fact, I promise I will go back to this episode and say, all right, everybody chill the fuck out. And if I was wrong,
it'll be who you expect to be in the top four. It'll be Liverpool, City, United, Chelsea. It'll be the big boys. Maybe
it'll be the big hitters.
With one person gate crashing.
And what we're going to hope for, obviously, is that it's going to be close. Some parity, right? Because there is no
that good.
I think that's what I was getting at on Monday, right? Is that Liverpool is dealing without Van Dijk, City's dealing without Silva, they've got their own problems.
The real problem, they're dealing without soul. They have no connectivity. It's fucking weird. I don't like
exactly. So you've got that. Could it be another Leicester year? Could Arsenal fuck around? Could Chelsea spend all the money in the world? What I'm saying is
neither of those teams are good enough.
What I'm saying is that I don't think anybody is good enough on paper right now to say they're the champion.
Well,
because of course not. It's October 29th.
Usually it's the team with the best defense. And
nobody has good defense.
Right. And out of the grouping, Liverpool's best defense is hobbled at best. City's could be amazing, but they literally paired up this season. So Diaz and Laporte look really good. Yeah, they look really good. And Kyle Walker's playing like the best defensive right back in the league. It's just fucking weird. This is a good way to sort of get into the games that just happened. And so that's just where it is. It's like the team that emerges with the best defense will be the team that wins the league, because that's who wins the league.
But the weird thing is that that's the trope, right? Like that's what you always sort of go back on. Like, got the storyline.
But it's true.
No, I know it is. But I think that's where the difference where this season ends is because you've got all of the COVID shit and all that stuff, but nobody's got, like, again, we're 6 weeks in. Nobody's got that dominant defense yet. A lot of time still. And I do think that City is the team, because if you look at it, every single team in the table has a lot of problems.
Yeah.
At the back.
But City's hurt. We don't have a striker.
Well,
like we'd kill for Vardy right now.
What I think though is that in a world where City has so much attacking talent and the striker is almost plug and play, and I know that he's not, but understand that when you've got a Kevin De Bruyne, when you've got a Raheem Sterling, when you've got a Riyad Mahrez, you can put me in there and I'd be
we have basically what City has is more dice to roll, right?
Exactly.
Right? Everyone has a set of dice. If they get good numbers, they'll get good players. City can roll more, has like extra dice to roll. Be like, oh, Mahrez is form is bad. Put in Bernardo. Oh, Bernardo's bad again. Switch Sterling over here. Play Gabriel over there.
Up top, so they can you want to do.
They can just keep rolling the dice to see where they get a shot.
But so my point is that when you've got a table where everybody has questions at the back, and you might not, you'll trade that for not necessarily having deadly striker because you have so much attacking talent.
Yeah, I think the weird thing is like the best way for City to win is to stop trying to score, which is what they've never done, right?
Well, they were just professional last weekend.
Actually be a defensive team, which they're not. So
2 weekends ago.
So speaking of actual games, we've gone to the theoretical. Now we have to sort of wrap up very quickly. The rundown is going to be, we're going to talk about the big teams in the Champions League. So, and then just sort of go through week 7. So we had crisis. Real Madrid, who had already lost to Shakhtar. They were down 2 goals to Gladbach from the Bundesliga. Thuram was incredible. I believe it's Marcus Thuram.
I don't know.
That's his dad. Anyway, but they pull it back for the draw, led by Benzema and then Casemiro. So we avoided catastrophe. My greater thought on the La Liga is there's just years and years of neglect by these 2 super clubs that since the Premier League got the super international money from like the US, they haven't been able to keep up. And then La Liga monies are now split more evenly. They don't have as much money. And you could argue that Barcelona basically put Liverpool on the map because they bought fucking Coutinho. Anyway, so Barcelona, they fired, or the board member, the guy who ran the team, the GM, basically, Bartomeu.
The whole fucking board.
steps down. Barcelona is energized. So the whole story of that is like Leo Messi is basically a hostage to the team. They don't let him leave or renege on his contract. He throws the entire team under the bus, the whole organization. We can talk about how teams in Spain are. And they come out and play like Barcelona, all out of the blue. Like Messi's happy. He's like, woo, we got the bit of that motherfucker. I'm going to stay. So I don't think Messi's going to leave. But, I think the big problem.
That sounds like how he talks too, by the way.
But big problem is just still the fact that Busquets and Piqué are still the main partners of the team is not good. And they know it.
Well, real quick on that. I forget the kid's name. They had like 3 teenagers.
Yes. Fati
playing in this game. Like,
yeah. They're really good too.
It wasn't Ansu Fati though. It was a defender who got hurt and came out. Busquets went in like 25, 30 minutes in.
Well, they still have.
So,
yeah.
But they're already hurt, right? They've got a handful of injuries at the back already. Speaking to, back to what we were saying, Barcelona has a lot of problems at the back right now. They put Sergio Busquets in as a center back at the 30th minute.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of that game.
They pulled it together and they were really tight. Like Messi was making passes. He wasn't passive. And moves to there. So you've got the 2 Spanish teams that are important. Real struggling, Barca pulling it together after the Clásico.
Well,
Bayern is
one thing though on that. Alvaro Morata, who was a flunk out at Chelsea.
It was amazing.
We talk a lot about VAR. And the thing I wanted to actually quickly bring up was that like, VAR in Champions League,
I totally forgot Juventus. They were bad.
Well, Juventus was bad, but like VAR is basically then all right, if you've watched the Premier League game, they use like the lines.
Morata was offside 3 times.
Yeah.
Close.
Right.
Super close.
But the thing about it is that's different is that like it wasn't super close like Sadio Mane versus Everton close. They looked at the replay and they eyeballed it and they went, yeah, he's offside. And then the funny thing is they brought in the lines, like the exact millimeters. They were right.
Yeah. Oh no, they're good.
We could talk about whether that's the right way to do VAR. I'll tell you what, it's a better way to do VAR.
Oh, well the other thing that was interesting was that's how he has to play. And I got to think it's really hard to adjust how you've played your whole life to VAR precision versus level. I can imagine. Right? You have to somehow slow your whole process down by half a step. So that's weird.
I don't think so. I think you don't change much, if anything, and you go, if I'm offside 6 to 7 out of 10 times, but I fucking score 2 to 3 times.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah. You might as well just keep doing. Oh, I mean, that's what they try and do, right? So Bayern, I mean, I don't think it's disputable. They're the best team in Europe. They have been for a while. It's not like they're not challenged. I think the Bundesliga is pretty tough. They keep winning because they're better, but they were great in the Champions League, and they're just rolling again through Locomotive. City, I have to talk about, played great against Marseille, but still labored, still trying to move things around. But I think they found a best lineup for now with KDB, Foden, Mahrez. Was it Mahrez? No. Sterling, Foden, and Fernan Torres at the center at striker.
Tell me a little bit about this kid because I don't know a ton about him. But
he was in Valencia, young winger, 20 years old, goal scorer. Just direct, not as fluid and amazing looking as Sané, more of a choppy Spaniard type, not the galloping handsomeness of Leroy Sané. But that's the role he's there to play. Got him for 20 million. He's already played for Spain, so he's a Spain international. He's pretty good. He's getting there. I mean, I think the goal is to he and Foden have to be a connection on the left side. And then, KDB and Sterling will be a connection on the other side, the way that Silva and Sané used to be, and Sterling and De Bruyne are. So that's the goal there. And then, he's not a striker. He's just there for now. But otherwise, easy win. The big thing is the pairing up of Diaz and Laporte. That's probably the first time. Maybe they played together the other time.
Relationship,
yeah. But they're both strong and big. They look like center backs. It's like, we don't have Eric Garcia, who's 16 years old, playing back there. He's athletic. He can do stuff. I don't even want to talk about these games. I'm already bored. Chelsea
Yeah,
beat Krasnodar.
Chelsea lives in a. They played in Europa League last year.
Yeah.
They fucking or the year before, whatever. This is a Europa League group. I talked to somebody who's a Chelsea fan. I'm like, these are all teams who should be in Europa League, right? Like you should. If you don't win it, he's like, oh, we won. I'm like, yeah, dude. If you don't win embarrassingly every game, shut up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're gonna be first.
And then the last one, I think one of the bigger results is Man United 5 over Leipzig. Leipzig is a hipster team. They're taking over that Dortmund space. Is like if you're the XG cool kid who's into soccer for the nerd reasons, Leipzig is your team. They've got Nagelsmann, who's the hipster nerd king. So it's like hipster, double plus hipster. I don't think
one major thing there. The thing about Dortmund and why they've always been
not Dortmund. I'm talking about Leipzig.
I know.
Okay.
The reason why I think Dortmund's stayed as the hipster team.
Yeah.
They sold Lewandowski. They sold Götze. They sold all these guys, and they stayed. They brought.
Well, they just reload.
Continue to reload.
Yeah.
You sold Timo Werner. You got to what? The semifinal last year, and Werner didn't even fucking play.
Yeah, he did.
But now, right? Dick. What an asshole. Yeah. Classic Chelsea. You need to replace these guys. That's the difference between the Dortmunds and the Leipigs and the whoever's of the world.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, I mean, Leipzig have a vertical kind of integrated system. Like, you know, they have Salzburg, Leipzig, Red Bull. They have like a team in every couple countries. So they have that whole unified.
In fact, I got
system,
confused because Salzburg was playing somebody and Leipzig was playing United, and I was like,
yeah, that's the same
I know
ownerships.
That.
Yeah.
I know that. So but the thing is that if you don't continue to feed the big club, and the big club doesn't continue to replenish talent, you're just a shit Dortmund. So
yeah,
they're
better run. They'll get there. But what I was driving at is like this game was 1-1 until the 78th minute,
and then they blew them away. Yeah,
and then they blew them away. So Manchester United played really well. I mean, it's hard. I want to make fun of Ole. I think he sucks, and then he has these stretches, and then you're like, God damn it, maybe he doesn't suck.
Yeah, I wanted to get your take on this because I mean, and we follow tough. a lot of United, flag, bearers and all that shit.
Well, they're only
on the Squeaky Bum Time Twitter account, which you should follow, by the way. But what a plug, by the way. What a great plug. But what I think is, I look at all these teams, and the Maguire shit was 2 weeks ago. Everybody's calling for everybody's head.
Yeah.
And again, this is the reactive nature. And I get it.
Sport is the original source of woke culture. Like you just get canceled. Like we're ready for it. We're like, oh yeah, that's normal. That's how you always do it.
Yeah, right. but now you're like, but the difference is that woke culture never has a redemption story.
No, right? There's no redemption.
So how many redemption stories has Ole had already? 2, 3? Like he wins 3 games in a row against good opponents, or he gets a good result, right? Because Chelsea was 0-0. He doesn't lose. 3 games in a row against real teams. PSG, Chelsea, and Leipzig.
That's fucking name brand. Yeah,
no, I'm not giving him shit. What I'm saying is, have we fixed everything with United all of a sudden?
No, because
Donny Van de Beek started, and you have that whole fucking thing.
No, the thing is the way they play is the thing. It's like when they play defensive football and they can hit on the break, they're good. They can handle it. They have that pivot point. They can, if the ball comes out, they get off a turnover, the ball goes into Fernandes, and Rashford and Martial are gone, right? They can score with 3 going forward. But the problem is that acceptable for Manchester United to play on the break at home, right? Mourinho got killed for being defensive. This is the ultimate in that way, and I think that's really the issue. There's a lot of teams have the same problem, which is they can win one way and they look amazing, right? Against certain opponents. It's like a matchup problem like you would have in hockey or NFL, right? United are built for tournament play, right? Because teams want to come at you. A lot of the teams are big teams. They're like the best teams in their respective country. So like Leipzig is like every week we roll out, we possess the ball, we pass it around, boom, 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 and we want to play football. And City and United are like, you know what? Try that. We have the horses. So they do it, turnover comes, they're gone, right? There's 2 or 3 goals like that. So, but in the league, United shouldn't be playing that way. And when they play Sheffield, when they play Burnley, they're going to have problems. Like
that's
the teams that
they get caught
sit in against them, they're in trouble. But they've been surviving on penalties, basically.
basically. Bruno Fernandes, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just
Yeah.
it's uncanny. I mean, I got to give credit to Martial and Pogba and all of those guys. They draw penalties, so good for them. I mean, that's fair for them.
All right,
and then
two
the last
quick games we have to do. The one I don't want to do. But
your game.
Well,
Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Let me just mention Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool. Liverpool got
Michelin is a less than Europa League team, so they just
that's like where they film Lord of the Rings. Like nobody gives a shit.
No,
so they cruised 2-0, but again, prayers up for VVD and all that.
Even worse now. Prayers up for Robinho. Poor heroics.
Oh yeah, he got hurt off the ball too.
They're so weakened, and God forbid they lose. Anyway, I can't deal with them. Talk about Spurs.
This podcast is comfortably rooting against Liverpool because they've had to deal with some shit, and we kind of want to see them suffer for it. Not that we condone any injuries or we're wishing them on anybody.
I'm just glad those 96 people.
Oh, that's officially that's not hilarious. Anyway, so that's a great little segue into watching.
If we laughed at it, then it's off the record.
Yeah, right. And then that's a great segue into the Europa League, which, by the way, Arsenal won, Leicester won, Spurs went to Belgium, Toby Alderweireld's hometown, by the way, in Antwerp, and it didn't go well.
Oh yeah,
Spurs end up losing 1-0. The more interesting
part is like the lineup and then the lineup change.
Right. So here's what happens, right? So you finally have Dele Alli back from the cone of silence.
Yeah. And
he starts it as a 10 role. You've got Bergwijn on the left, who basically, aside from that goal against City last year in the Premier League, has done fuck all. Bale is another one. He's getting a start. Everybody's excited. He's playing against a shitty team. Maybe he's going to get some run out and maybe a goal. It was a Murphy's Law first half. Ben Davies basically stepped on his own foot, fell down, and then bang, they go up 1-0. You're like, all right, fine. Like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah, you're scoring.
And by the way,
fine.
It's Europa League. Even if they lose one, like, it's going to be fucking okay.
Yeah,
but that's
the bigger thing. It's Europa League. It doesn't matter.
It didn't matter, right? It didn't matter. But at halftime, you get 5 subs in Champions League in Europa League from last year.
Right.
Marino makes 4 of them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right? He brings off Dele. He brings off Vinicius, the striker, who was good, by the way, the only good player on the field.
Lo Celso.
He brings off Lo Celso, who I thought was fine. And I forget who the 4th one was. Oh, it wasn't Bale because he came off. It was Bergwijn. He brings on Son. He brings on Lucas, who just don't even get me started. Lamella. I can't remember the last one. And then 5 minutes later,
guys who play normally.
Yeah. 5 minutes later, he takes Bale off for Kane, and you're like, well, fine. I didn't want to do this, but fucking fine. And then it was still disjointed.
Yeah.
Right? And when you get a lot of lineup changes, one of 2 things happens. You get you get a bunch of guys who are insanely hungry to prove their spot, and they just fucking go and go and go. And you get a crazy result. Even if it's frenetic, you get something out of them. Or you get a bunch of guys who are standing around confused and haven't played with each other and don't really know what the fuck to do. And which one do you think that we got, right? So now you kind of –
And then you're chasing the game, right? They almost gave up that second as well.
Oh, no. Let me be very clear about something. This should have been 3-0 to the Farmers. 3-0. They had 2 sitters where I looked at the person next to me. I was sitting by myself, and I went, I have no fucking idea how that missed, right? Like twice. Maybe even 3 times if I had to watch it again, which I hope I would never wish on.
I think the bigger is right. Like you've got Spurs, right? They take 15 shots and only put 2 on target. It's just like, come on, this shouldn't happen, right? Like a week before the 3-3, at halftime of the 3-3, we were almost gonna be like, can Spurs win the league? And that's what 10 days ago, and now we're like.
The funniest part about this is
I don't know.
Here's being a Spurs fan today in a nutshell. You see the lineup come out. It's a 2:00 in Eastern time. 2:00 start. So 1:00 lineup comes out, and my buddy and I are texting each other back and forth. We go, "I'll tell you what, man, I kind of like this lineup. We've got a lot of depth. I tell you, we're sitting there roster debating. We're like, oh my god, this is fantastic. We're gonna beat these guys. It's gonna be fine. Whatever. Blah blah blah. Brighton on Sunday. I feel good. feel really good. And if it goes tits up, we've got a lot of star power coming off the bench.
Yeah. I mean,
An
and
hour
plus
and a half later, we're like, oh, hey, remember when we thought we had that depth? Hey, I'm going to go fuck myself.
Okay.
Goodbye,
Okay.
everybody.
So I think, I didn't even look at the lineup. The old 3 left back lineup, that's kind of weird.
I don't know what. Like, and that's the other thing. You started Reguilon, you started Davies, you started both your left backs, and you got a game again on Sunday. I'm like, why are you doing?
Because
why are you the way
he's going to play Doherty,
Jose?
Switched him around. Yeah,
I don't know. So
that
was my afternoon.
I think a guy on Antwerp is called Oompa Loompa.
I mean, it's possible that we lost to Oompa Loompa.
It is. It's Ampamora. Ampo.
Oh, he's old. He's old.
No, that guy played in Hull. I know who you're talking about.
He's like 35. And I tell you what, he's the guy. He's the guy who should have been on the score sheet today, and he missed one from.
I remember him in Hull because
5-6 yards away.
Every shitty
We're like
team in the
Hugo Lloris, who also should not have been in net today. Like, why is he playing? Looks at the guy, goes, "How the fuck did you miss that by that much?" Like, because he looked him dead in the eyes because he was 6 yards away from him when he missed it.
Yeah, you never know with these weird ass games. Let's see. Let's go to the preview because we spent a lot of time talking about this. So let me get my thing with the thing.
There's one major game this week, right? And it's kind
Arsenal
of the story.
and Manchester United.
You're always going to get one headliner, right? You're going to get a bunch. It's basically think of the Premier League schedule as like a boxing match or a UFC card.
Yeah,
a bunch of decent. Okay, if you're really into it, you'll pay attention. But you've got the one major, the.
But they're different for different people, right? Like it's very tribal, right? Like if you're not an Arsenal Manchester United fan.
Oh, I'm speaking exclusively to the neutrals in this respect.
So these two play each other. This is a big deal for Arsenal because they still really haven't beat anyone traditionally considered a big team in the league. They did beat Liverpool and City during some tournaments,
doesn't really count.
And so this will be a test to see how. I think the more interesting thing is how they play. So if United play this 5-back, 2 holding midfielders against Arsenal, as they should, because that's how you beat Arsenal so far, that'll be interesting. And I wonder if Arsenal will just be like, you know what, we're not winning, taking the game to people. Let's sit back and see how that goes. My game of the week is going to be Leeds-Leicester because Leeds. They're fucking awesome.
Again, it's different strokes, different folks, right? Like what I'm saying is every fan has some skin in United Arsenal, right?
Yeah,
one way or another, realistically. But the neutrals who are here for a good time, not a long time, watch Leeds Leicester, right? That's gonna be the good one. And by the way, we say this about whoever the fuck Leeds is playing every week. And it's true, right? Like,
I mean, it might be different a second time through the league, but anyway, this wouldn't have been a big game, but West Ham, Liverpool, unfortunately, the fucking luck of Liverpool struck again, even though they don't have any center backs. Antonio's out for 2 months.
Mikel Antonio is fantastic, and I hate saying that because he's great, but he kills Tottenham. So both teams are injury ravaged, ironically, in the same spot in the field, right? Like
in the box.
West Ham's attack and Liverpool's defense.
Well,
Sebastian Haller, who they bought last year for like
he's good though.
Money.
He's just not. He's not English.
He's an aircraft carrier, is what he is. Right?
No, he's good. He's in Germany. He was really good.
He's good, but he's not like.
He was hipster cool because he played in that cool Leverkusen team with Rebic.
Right.
And they scored a lot of goals. But yeah, no Antonio. You don't have that real force, right? Haller is more of like a Anelka, Thierry Henry type, where he wants to be smooth and move in the box, even though he's tall and lanky. He's not up there for throwing elbows, which is what Antonio would be.
I think, and they're going to miss Antonio. I'm not saying that they won't, but like they still have an offensive amount of attacking talent. They
have
still
good
have
players, yeah.
A Lanzini. They still have a Yarmolenko. Like
they're not going
to all the guys. What?
They're not going to play those guys.
No, I know, but that's my point. Is that if they're in a pinch late, they're going to bring those guys on. Trust me, they're going to fucking bring Lanzini on. Okay.
Moyes is going to Liverpool for a draw.
No, I understand. What I'm saying is that they're going to be down 1 in the 75th.
Oh, they're going to go for it, sure. And then Sheffield versus City. I would have been scared of this game. It's going to be more of the same. City's going to have to break this team down. It's going to be hard. Sheffield are tough, but they can't score. So
well, it's going to be one of two things. It's going to be a frustrating, horrible Burnley-ish game.
They're not like that.
Or, well, they can't score, so what else are they going to do? Or you're going to get an early one.
Then it's
they're
easy.
going to have to, and then it's going to be the route's going to be on.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
like
depends. We haven't
City.
seen that, right? We haven't seen the route.
You just haven't seen an early goal. That's all.
Yeah, we got to get our width back so that those tap-ins come back. Chelsea, Burnley. This one we'll see. We'll see how it. This is a measuring stick game for Chelsea.
Yep.
They're slight. They're flashy. Timo Werner's fast. He's a little guy. This is a game where I'm petrified for Pulisic. Like, he shouldn't play because
he's going to get hurt.
He's going to get hurt because he only weighs 140 pounds. But this is a game this will be a measuring stick game for Chelsea. Chelsea needs to, like, you just saw it you played Burnley on Monday. They are not fucking around.
They are. They will punch you in the mouth, not help you up, and spit on you while you try to, right?
Repeatedly. And then embrace it. Be like, we're not here to try and win this game.
No, we're not. We're just here to fuck you up. And I don't think Chelsea's built for that, right?
Nope.
So
Nope.
Very interesting.
Yeah. It'll be in the midfield.
And here's the thing. If Super Frank Lampard is as English as he thinks he is, he needs to instill some fucking Englishness in this team before they go to Burnley.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, they need that. He's got to talk to center backs and get them charged up for this stuff.
Sharpen your elbows, kids.
I'm worried for you against Brighton after a Thursday.
Oh, thank you. Me too.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this team is Brighton is close to whooping somebody because they're always creating chances. One of these because one of these games, Mope is going to just put them in.
He's going to go off. The only thing I think about with Brighton is that
you can hit them on the break.
They have Spursiness in them too,
and no dunk. They do. You're right.
So they have some Spursiness. So I think that
they do.
We can. I think this is going to be a classic game of who wants it less.
Yeah, who's going to lose? Who's not going to lose it?
Right. And I think you're going to get a 2-2 draw. or Spurs are going to beat the doors off of them, right?
I don't know. Yeah.
Because here's the other thing is that, like, Mourinho posted on Instagram with his, by the way, if you don't follow Jose Mourinho on Instagram, don't. He's 57 years old. Grow the fuck up.
Oh, he probably paid someone to do it. Come on.
After the game today, he had somebody take a picture of him on the team bus with him sitting there with his hands folded, saying, bad play gets bad results. And I just wanted to punch him in the goddamn mouth. Like, grow up. Scream at your team. Don't put it out on Instagram for your ego and the likes, you loser.
Oh God.
Knock it off.
And then my other super favorite game is Villa Southampton. These are like fun, happy fun.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one.
For me, because I love Hasenhüttl.
Villa Southampton is Leeds Leicester light.
Yeah.
So I feel good about what we've got this weekend, aside from my own team, which always makes me want to feel like death. But that's
I do want to pick up the remaining games. Tomorrow, Friday, during the day is Wolves Palace. That's two teams that don't want the ball. I would figure Palace is a good shout here because they're better at home. I mean, they're better on the road. We have another 6-pointer on Monday, Fulham West Brom. Fulham have to win this game. If they do not win this game, they definitely, for sure, 1,000% going down. Like, this is their Super Bowl. One other game, Newcastle, Everton. Everton need a bounce back. They've got to get their mojo back, or that narrative is going to go south.
And Newcastle's no cake, right? So
they're not fun. No.
Newcastle's, if you win, and by the way, they're up there too. So it's not like it's like this horrible travel day. But like, if you win at Newcastle, that's a feather in your cap, especially coming off a loss to Southampton. So if Everton has genuine ambitions, not fuck the trophy. If they have just genuine top four ambitions,
a voice, a presence.
You go, and after you got smacked in the mouth, you go take 3 points at Newcastle.
But I don't think they have Richarlison still, and
they
don't think they have Digne. And I think one of the things that people don't realize is these teams that are up and comings or are like taking spots. Your Aston Villas, Leicester's to a lesser extent, Everton, Leeds that are kind of fun and fighty. They don't have depth. A red card, a straight red on one of their guys kills them. because
and
they are out for 3 games, right?
And that's the
Not
entire
like-
left side of Everton.
Yeah, right. So Everton and Coleman's hurt. So they have to figure out how they want to handle that. And that makes a difference because it just means everything is a domino effect. One part of the chain gets weakened, means a guy has to take 2 steps forward because he's got to cover for the other guy who's 2 steps slow. All of a sudden the space isn't there. All of a sudden you wonder why your team doesn't move anymore.
Well, I mean, and I love Everton. You know, they're a very likable team, but
They are likable.
Welcome to the fucking party, guys.
Yeah,
this is
go up and
like
go
at the
beat
top
Newcastle.
of the fucking hill.
It's hard. It's a pain in the
welcome
ass.
to the top of the hill. So if you're gonna play with the big boys, you're gonna have to deal with some shit, and it's at your fucking doorstep.
And they could just anytime they get it, just give it to James and hope that he does something magical. I mean, that's kind of what you have crack players for. Like you just sometimes like that game, the game you had on Monday, like that game was not there for winning. It was just Kane to Son. They just did something out of the blue. And that's how you win.
Kane took it off of his own line too, but So that's the thing is that can Everton assert their intent as a player in the league storyline this year, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we'll find out. And that's what I mean, you know, and I'll bring it all the way back around. Context. We're going to get a lot more context this weekend. We're every
week is another change of the story, right? Like all
that
can happen is Arsenal win and it's Arteta's a genius again, or Liverpool. Who the hell was Liverpool playing? Oh, West Ham beats Liverpool, and all of a sudden David Moyes is the greatest, and Liverpool heroically falling behind because they don't have their center backs.
Oh,
or little tiny Liverpool, they're never gonna make it.
But that's so right. Like I think that the main thing to take away from this is enjoy your narratives, get drunk on your narratives.
Yeah.
But have a pinch of content. The next morning, just take two little pills of context.
No, get upset every time. Get upset every time. Cheer every time.
Oh no, I'm not saying that.
Get mad at every decision.
When you look at the larger globe, right? If you feel like a bag of shit when you wake up because you had too much narrative, that's fine. But when you open your shades, take 2 pills of context before you do.
Yeah.
Right? That's all we're talking about here. How about that for a metaphor?
Oh my God. I just looked ahead. I shouldn't have looked ahead.
You shouldn't have looked ahead. I know what's coming.
Oh God, I'm not ready.
Dun dun dun.
I'm not ready.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm not ready.
Manchester City, Liverpool is coming soon.
No.
I knew that. I saw it before. I knew that.
Not ready. It's too soon.
We're gonna have to have like an emergency pod immediately after
the
Liverpool City game. And then you play us shortly after. I
don't care about that. It's this game.
I know.
I need oxygen. Like Liverpool, Manchester City is a no breathe. I don't breathe.
No, I know. Folks, that's real. I've fucking seen
if it's close. It's fucking awful. It's the worst.
It's always close.
All right, that will wrap it up on my fear because now I don't want. Now I have to go hide under my desk for a while.
Just smoke more weed.
I didn't smoke it. I took it of the gummy variety.
Oh, they're the best kind.
Yeah, but it takes
good for your lungs.
It takes forever, man. Jesus, now I'm stoned all day.
Does.
Anyway, not gonna put this one on my job interview. That was the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike Salerno and Laurent Cortines. This was a crap football, crap pundit production. We will return on Mondays and Thursdays for the Premier League season. We will talk about soccer and other things that interest us. Mike is crazy. Laurent is insane. That's why it works.